Hello, everybody, and welcome to Artist, Wife, Writer, Husband podcast. Sorry, me, Artist, Wife, Midnight.
And me, writer, husband, Neff.
And we got a special guest in the house today.
Who isn't MDC.
Yeah, he's not much of a guest anymore, but
Whoa, like that.
he's our co-host.
Really hateful.
Oh, yeah, that's some kind of me.
We don't welcome him here.
Let's all welcome.
But yeah, the thing about it is.
Not MDC.
Not MDC?
Yeah, we're not welcoming
him. He's not
him.
here. He's actually not here. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, he really wanted to emphasize.
But yeah, our guest today is
Darren Soto.
There we go.
Right? That was like, did you not? Darren Soto.
Does he have a name?
Yeah, right. Don't you have
Do
like
you have a name? A pen name?
Tell us your pen name, your little alias. It's not a little, I'm sorry.
Darren Soto works just fine. My Instagram is the Soto though, so
that's what I was thinking of. The
okay,
Soto.
Yeah.
As in, I'm the main
The
one. There may be
Soto.
more, but I am the Soto.
Welcome, the Soto. Thanks for coming on to the podcast with us.
Right. We definitely love to have you. As I was talking about last week, when we ran our Valentine's Day episode.
Oh my gosh, why'd you date it? Oh my goodness.
What do you mean?
I wanted you to edit that part out when we talked about the...
It's an episode specifically for Valentine's Day. I don't understand.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I just remembered too.
Okay, so yeah.
I hate this.
So Valentine's Day was last week. We hope you had a very good holiday.
Mandatory Love Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pretty much. Willingly.
But yes, we've talked about Darren before.
Yeah.
In past podcasts.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
I mean, you're one of our favorite artist friends, so I mean, you're one of our favorite friends, period. So, yay, you made it on the favorites list.
I'm glad I'm in the friends category and not the subcategory of artist friends.
There's like a little tier move there.
Artist friends.
I only like you if you draw. Your personality sucks.
Guys, I don't think I'm gonna want to follow art anymore.
Well,
acquaintance.
I'm gonna be honest. My art list, my artist friends list, and my friends list, they're kind of both on the small side. So you're in the higher category of the smaller category.
I would say, were you trying to say something like you don't have many friends who are just about you?
Yeah.
Because I have to come up like, congratulations.
No, that's not.
You did good.
That's so embarrassing. What are we talking about today, Neff?
Yes. We invited Darren over here because one of the things that he definitely excels at with his experience, I've watched them from afar, from our convention table.
Which is normally, it is kind of far away. Your table is normally like a good table's down with all the art supplies.
We're never like side by side.
That I've always wanted.
Yeah, man, placement sucks.
Yeah,
Ideal for any occasion, but I feel like this is gonna come up a little later, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, that is very important. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we brought him on to the show so we can talk about conventions.
Conventions.
Like convention etiquette, right?
Mm-hmm. Convention etiquette, and convention etiquette
it's a
experience.
Over experience, like to the convention scene, to some of our listeners that are contemplating about going, or
for some of our
a couple of times and they didn't really do well.
And for some of our listeners who don't know when we say conventions, we're talking about anime conventions, comic conventions, the wide mix between them because there's sci-fi conventions and there's
and it's not
writer conventions, but we don't go to the
exactly anything large because we have our experiences with conventions that
range in size.
Yeah, ranges in different sizes. Like
school conventions,
library events, to the the type of events where they do go out and rent a
hotel,
convention space,
whole venue,
or a hotel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like it's just a gathering hub for nerds, to be honest. But I mean, it's a great gathering hub for nerds and geeks and cosplayers and blurs.
Like so many fandoms.
Yeah. It's fast. So there is a section called the Artist Alley, and anybody who's gone there, that's where we are.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the other section.
There's the Vendors Alley, or the
marketplace.
The marketplace. That's the other name for it. The marketplace.
There are rivals.
I mean, technically, and then there's the upper artist alley, because there's always an upper artist alley in the bigger conventions.
Oh, the featured guests.
Yeah,
And stuff like that.
yeah. Those are dreams one day for a convention to be like, hey, we want you at our convention. We'll pay for you. We'll fly you out. Just like, yes.
I'm waiting for that email because I already have like a response ready for it.
Nice.
Just like,
See, these are good tips.
welcome, Soto. We want to have you here. We want to bring you to this show. And I immediately respond with, I don't think you know who I am. Because you're asking something great of someone who's not great. So, thanks. I'll show up, but don't be disappointed when I get there.
You're terrible.
I
No.
thought we talking meant like in a different way. Like, how dare you approach me?
Right, I thought you were going. I don't
no.
think you know who I am.
I'm overly humble. I'm like, I don't do anything. Don't try to acknowledge me like that.
I mean, but we totally do. Oh, okay. I was so confused.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like,
I try to do hand signals to Anna, but I try to make it
Yeah, I
as
don't know.
simple as possible, but she never understands what I'm saying. It's like she just
long
looks
hand,
and just
cool
nods.
stretch. I'm just like,
to bring the mic closer to the man.
why not tell the man to sit up? Sorry,
Or
not telling
that
you to sit
too.
up, but
Well, I mean, we want our guests
slouch.
to feel comfortable. Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, we want you
If
to
you
come.
want to slouch.
Oh, you wanted me to go over there and adjust his mic?
I
Oh,
have
I'm
bad
sorry, that
posture,
would've
so
been-
it's fine.
Mm.
I mean, we're artists, right?
Yeah.
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 I mean, I tried the good posture thing for like 10 minutes. It hurts.
It hurts. It hurts.
It takes too much focus.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
It's way too much focus.
Yeah, and then you kind of like hyper focusing on your spine and everything that's wrong with it, and it's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna.
You know, if we live long enough, there's going to be something to fix it.
That'd be nice. That makes it the most comfortable.
No. I'll be fine.
We'll never fix your bad posture. So, one of the great things about being an artist at a convention, is being an artist at a convention. I mean, once you get past the pricing for table space, the pricing for what's it called? Inventory.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah.
and then transportation.
Actually, that's my first thing, right? Before actually going to the convention.
Yeah.
Like I've met some people where they're like, oh, I'm going to my first convention. I gotta make sure to get this, that. So if this is like your first time going to a convention, like how do you I don't want to say how do you budget, but like realistically speaking, should you go all out for inventory?
So with this question, I kind of have two answers. The first one is based off of the idea that you've never been to a convention before, period. Like,
Right. Yeah.
You listen to this amazing podcast today, and then you're like, tomorrow you sign up for a convention. I'm going off of that idea first. So if you are doing that, do not go heavy on inventory because you don't know what you're getting into. Because in the artist alley, there are different types of artists. You have your print artists, you have your pins, you have your statues, you have your commission-based artists, and then you have your all-around artists. If you're trying to be a print artist, then you're going to have a lot of stuff, but you're going to have to really see how a convention runs. So for your first convention, I would get a moderate amount. I would get I would grab 5 or 6 of your best pieces, get 10 copies of your top 2, and then 5 of the rest. Go to the convention, have a banner or have cages so you can get a nice appeal, but your first show is going to be information gathering. It's not going to be like that money overhaul. It could be, not saying that you won't sell out, but you have to see what it is first to understand where your place is in it.
Right. You just don't want to jump right too heavy into it, like we did. Totally started off this convention with questions, and I kind of just realized we didn't go into your background. Like, who are you?
Oh.
Why are you here?
Well, obviously, I'm a friend.
Tell us about yourself, Mr. The Soto.
Well, as my good friends here have said, I am the Soto on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. More emphasis on the first two, not much on the last one.
I was like, wait, you have a Facebook page?
Yeah, I was legit like, you have a Facebook?
I made a Facebook page because I'm petty. I literally made that because I wanted to win a bet. And I did, so I never uploaded anything since.
Okay.
Terrible way to do your life. But I've been doing conventions for about 6 or 7 years. It has definitely been a journey. My first convention was Annapolis Comic-Con.
Ooh.
And I had no prints. I had no banner. I had no presents. I was sharing a table with 6 other gentlemen who I am aware still know today. And I was selling $2 sketch cards.
Oh, the sketch cards.
Yep. I took a drawing out of my portfolio. I taped it to the wall behind me, and I was like, "This is me. Welcome." I made $32 selling $2 sketch cards.
Hey, you know what though? Wow, that's actually.
It was a lot of work though.
You know what though? That's not a bad strategy.
It's not. It depends on what you want to do. So, as my time in conventions is running, I realized pretty quickly that I'm not a print guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the guy that's going to go home and make umpteen prints about whatever's popular at the time or about what I like. I'm more of a commission artist. I like to make things that people would like at that point because I like to think that I'm pretty quick with my work. I do have prints though, so it's like I do have a set of prints, which is always good to have so people can see what your work is. But I've worked with Midnight and Neff on a project before.
Yeah, boy.
On a comic project. I have worked with other companies in the past. I did some art directing. I worked with Upper Deck recently on a few projects I can't publicly talk about.
You still can't?
No.
Oh.
Some stuff got approved, and it's cool that it got approved, but I can't talk about it yet until they're like, send me the email that's like, Darren, you can talk about it. And I'm like, yes, I can't wait to talk about it.
You know,
yeah, that's cool.
Can we at least tell them what an Upper Deck is? I mean, I feel like
Upper Deck is a trading card company that usually works with most popular games.
Yeah.
For example, a friend of ours, Brian Tillman, just made a game called Dark Legacy. Upper Deck bought that game from him, so you can actually find that on Amazon and at your local game shops.
Whoa, we were talking about that too.
They also do the Marvel Marvel board games, X-File games.
Okay, I did not know they did board games. I just knew of them for the
the trading cards and stuff like that, like the massive packs of things. That's them.
Oh, that's cool.
So Upper Deck's pretty big. They do a lot of sports cards too,
yeah,
which is what
that's where I found out about them from collecting
the cards.
football cards and basketball cards.
They do card sleeves that I like.
They do card sleeves as well, yeah.
I like that card
but that's totally dope, and that's definitely one thing I want to get into. In another episode when it comes down to doing commissions.
Oh yeah, getting the big clientele, roping them. I want to hear that from you.
Sounds like I might be brought back, guys.
Yeah, that's a great start for conventions, especially when you're going in and you're like, "This is my first convention scene." I loved your advice on the whole picking the top 2, getting a good number of those.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know what to do. I think the first time we got 2 or 3 of everything.
What was our first convention?
Oh man, with restarting it all over again, I believe it was Hayfield at the school, Hayfield School.
Oh yeah, we was not prepared.
Yeah, we were not. We were still going to the print place. Neff was he dropped me off, had a couple of prints. We had to go and run out and make maybe just a little bit more prints because we just didn't get it all.
And it was
the thing terrible.
That was so terrible about it was
I made no money.
We was expecting to be kind of put next to someone else and whatnot, so we expected that we was going to share table space. We wasn't expecting
your own space.
Yeah, an entire cafeteria table
Yeah, like
to ourselves.
just got a portfolio, so I put random pieces of art in it. There was no cohesion. It was just thrown together and placed on the table. Well, you had mentioned the storage cubes, or what, however you had said them, called them cages.
Yeah, the wire racks, the wire cages.
Yeah, wire cages. You can find them on Amazon. They're like 6-cube.
Yeah, Amazon
Wire storage
Yeah.
cubes. The greatest. We call them cages because you pretty much we use them for just a minimal amount of storage, and the majority of it is just a giant display. They're just the cage displays.
Yeah.
Very useful.
Super useful. Like if you're gonna get into it, especially if you're gonna do prints or something like that, ideal. That's what you want.
I mean, even good for like crafting stuff or displays for jewelry, especially. I've seen everybody of all walks.
Pillow
use it.
makers,
Yeah.
they'll do them.
Oh yeah, like I love it too because the pillow makers have like a little top open at the top, and then they'll put like just stack them in the cubes. So they'll just pull them from the bottom and it'll just go down. It looks so cute. I love that. That's a good idea for them.
But for my running back to the first point, for the second advice, if you have been to conventions before, and this is your first convention that you're setting up at, think back on your experiences about what you liked as a consumer, and if you are going a certain way, like build your table the way that you saw other tables built.
Yo, yeah, that's a good
Like,
idea.
Reference what other people have done and make it your own.
Yeah, research. Even when you just show up right there too, and you're looking around trying to figure out what to do. That's literally what I do. Well, I have a definite idea now what I do, but when I was first getting back, it was like, how do they do their cages? Let me just
Mosey.
just stare at them for a second while I build my cage. So, how do you build yours when you're making your table? We're at the convention now. You have some prints. You budgeted the amount, however have you. You set it up. You know what kind of convention you're going to. How do you set up your area?
You actually caught me at a very interesting time. I'm changing my setup for the first time in like 6 years. No, not 6 years. That's an exaggeration. 5 years though. Yeah.
That's not much of an exaggeration.
So how I usually did it was with my my table space. I would build like a 2-cube high setup. I would tape or clip my prints onto that and have 2 books set up on the table with original art and more prints that I've just accumulated over the years. The plan moving forward is to have 2 banners, a nice tablecloth that has a printing of who I am and what I'm doing, as well as having select prints laying on the table and a small cage that's going to be housing a toy that I'm building.
Okay.
Ooh, yo, that's cool.
So like, what about the portfolio? Because I feel like the portfolio was
It's like a staple.
helpful for like the commissions, right?
Yes, I would also have a portfolio there, but it would be a portfolio.
Oh, okay.
'Cause I-
just too.
Right. So at one point I had 3 on my table, just like, check me out. I can do different sizes. Like boom, boom, boom. I'm that guy. But it's when you have so much there, especially like when you only have like a 6 or an 8 foot table, it's not a lot of space for people to flip through.
Yeah.
As well as like in bigger spaces, we have a lot of people coming. If they just see like one person flipping through and they can't flip through, they're gonna move past you.
Yeah.
So it's like having like
That's true.
select things that people can see, especially the higher up that it is. Sometimes the higher up might not be the best bet, because if everybody around you is high and you can see that from far away and see this weird divot where you think there's nothing, people are going to come to you because you're different among that crowd. So you have to figure out a way to stand out.
Yeah, that's actually
true.
wow.
And then also I was thinking about what you said about like you really don't want too much, and that kind of goes to like if it's your first time at a convention, you don't want to have too many pieces, I guess, because usually you're getting like a normal table size. And one thing I noticed, like for example, when we went to BlurredCon last year with Marcus Williams, he has all these different pieces, but he has all these different pieces spread out amongst like 3 tables.
Yeah.
3
He has
tables.
a person in front of each table.
So jealous.
Featured artist status.
Yeah,
Right,
to help him with the sales.
That's that status, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely good to start off small at first.
Yeah.
And I've seen artists where, like, literally at Anime USA, this guy had all of his pieces all around him, huge 11 by 17s, and even some weird sizes. I guess 14 by 20, 14 by 16. I don't know, the weird size, just caged around him from like what seemed like to be the top of the, basically could almost touch the roof, going onto the floor, and he was just like sitting there all humble, like, hello, I'm just like, I want to buy one of your pieces. I like your Yu Hakusho one. But he was just surrounded in it. There was no space for anywhere else.
See, that's so much, and it's like I feel like when people see that as their initial, they don't realize that probably took time.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those designs are probably like X amount of years old, or they went back through Photoshop and like edited some things after to make it more appealing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you don't start off that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like driving. Like you don't start off with a Porsche.
Yeah.
You get a used beat up car. So it's like when someone hits you, you're like, that sucks. But like if you start so grand, you're gonna be super disappointed in the beginning because you're just like, oh man, my stuff's not selling, and it's like, well, people don't know you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You know.
true.
People don't know you, and more often than not, you have to wonder, who would you make this for?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you had a very good point earlier when you had said that you prefer commission-based work versus just throwing stuff that you like out there. And I wanted to know more about that. What made it to where you're just more commission-based?
Personally, for me, as a few people can probably agree with, my interests aren't the world's interests. The characters and the shows and stories and books that I like aren't mainstream. So if I were to make a bunch of prints of the stuff that I like, wouldn't sell.
Name one. We probably shared the interest because we talked about it one time, but name one.
We probably have.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm very curious.
Okay. I'm a fan of Craig of the Creek.
Yay. Woot woot.
Ew. I love Craig of the Creek.
Craig of the Creek is such a great show.
It is.
Cartoon Network, hit me up. I'm trying to do some stuff. But, for example, Craig of the Creek, I worked on a piece specifically about Craig of the Creek because the show came out and I loved it, you know, especially like growing up black in Maryland, you know.
Yeah.
It was great.
And the portrayal of a black
portrayal's
family
great.
without taking away from them being black, you know.
Exactly. And doing things that are iconic to Maryland, like cicada season, eating crab legs, like that's ideal.
I like the crab
But
legs.
I've never.
I like that. I don't like the cicada part though.
I like crab cakes.
I do.
Crab cakes are also Maryland, super Maryland.
Cracking crabs.
Super.
Old Bay.
It's just too much work.
It's
But
great work.
to continue with that, it's like I made that print and it's one of my favorite drawings of that year. But when I went to Baltimore Comic-Con to present it, people weren't into it. Well, I shouldn't say people weren't into it. People liked it.
Yeah.
People thought it was like, they said it was so good. They thought I worked for the show, which I was like, oh, stop. Let them know. Tell them about your boy. But
tell them. It's me.
But like, people didn't know the show yet because the show was still so new that like they had no connection to it. So it's like they weren't willing to buy it. Like I sold a few to the ones who were like, oh man, I knew about it. But really for that piece, I did more promoting for the show than I did because people like that piece.
Oh, that's
you know, like if I was to do like a Dragon Ball Z print, I'm not doing Goku. I'm not doing Vegeta. I'm not doing Piccolo. Everybody does that. My favorite character is Krillin. I would quickly do a piece about like, you know, Krillin and Yajirobe. You know what I'm saying? It would be dope, but people wouldn't buy it because, especially like the younger audience, they don't know Yajirobe. They don't know how fire Krillin was, in my opinion.
But okay, can I say this though? That I feel like in a lot of, because I was gonna bring this up with Midnight's experience. I feel like a lot of it has to do with also the type of convention. Like, you know, normally we do anime, comic conventions. We haven't really done, like last year we did Anime USA, and that was like the first.
That was our
anime
first
conventions
anime
we
convention,
normally
yeah.
find ourselves attending. Like has just
Consumers.
congoers,
Mhm.
as consumers.
Yeah, boy.
But like I imagine, like what if it was
Sadly, not going to Katsu this year.
like
Trying to
a
sneak in.
black creatives convention?
If it's a
I
black,
feel like it might have done better there.
see, now if it was a black creators convention like BlurredCon or
Yeah, something like
the
Atlanta. I think Atlanta has one.
what's the one HBCU Con?
Yeah, that's coming up. It's that Atlanta one that just passed.
I forgot what it's called. But
I don't know.
Atlanta have one. I think New York has one too.
If it was for those, I would argue that they might be interested because it's a black kid, but I don't know if they would buy it because they're fans of the show.
And that's
Well,
a big
how
issue.
has the show been doing? Because we actually
The show's been
don't
doing
have
good.
Yeah, they
Show's
actually.
doing
Okay,
good.
so it's not like canceled or anything.
No, it's still going, man.
Okay.
I
Still
saw a
still
commercial
going.
at the parents' house. Cause we go over there to watch
Yeah.
the universe.
Yeah, that's the
That's
movie
where we-
mostly white chick. Because I don't think it's not on Hulu or anything like that.
No, not
I
yet.
wish it was,
Not
but then
yet.
if it is, then you know it came off. Of
You probably got to
Crunchyroll.
pay for it.
Yeah.
But it's
I
at
would.
least for Prince wise, that's where it's like I found out. At least I realized for myself that game's not for me because it's like as fellow con goers and like Artist Alley participants, you can walk around the Artist Alley and you're gonna see every My Hero Academia, but every My Hero Academia is gonna only have like 5 characters from the show. It's gonna
Yeah.
be Deku,
Right.
Bakujo,
Yeah.
All Might, the 1000 guy,
Lemillion. Well, yeah, now
Him.
Lemillion.
Yeah.
and then the
That's my dude.
Eraserhead. Is that his name?
Eraserhead,
I don't know
Aizawa.
My Hero, so don't hate me for that. But but like you're gonna see that. You're gonna see Dragon Ball Z. You're gonna see iconic characters.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not gonna see characters that you love though.
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna find those characters because like my significant other has a love for Cassandra Cain, Batwoman. You will not find that as a print.
You won't,
and if you
no.
do,
It's
you know
probably
it's
just
good.
one.
It's one thing, you know, and that's how I feel as somebody who like couldn't make prints. Because if I'm gonna make prints for everything that I love and I know that people will not like it, I'd rather just make it in my free time and just post it somewhere, and then
Right.
do a print on demand sale or something like that. But as an
Okay,
artist,
yeah, that's pretty good.
as Artist Alley, you're really committing to the masses.
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing.
That is a big
also
thing.
with us, because we're kind of like, for the most part, like screw the masses. So that definitely hurts ourselves because we don't do a lot of fan art.
I
Same.
don't.
We don't. It's a lot of original stuff,
Yeah.
and
Like,
it definitely hurts. Like
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to going to Small Press Expo.
I'm looking for the Blurred
SPX
Con, though.
SPX
So I look
is
forward to it.
legit.
Yeah, like,
SPX is the best show for like independence. Like if you have a project and you want it to be out there, SPX. There's no better show. At least in this area. Please in the comment section tell me any more around the country.
Give us if you know any good ones.
But-
We're trying
Yeah.
to be there.
SPX in this area, like you have people coming from all over the world trying to come into this show.
Oh boy, the pressure.
Which like it used to just be locals, but like now it's grown so big.
Yeah, I would. The
And
last
it's-
time we went there was when it was local.
Yeah.
And we were just went there for like
I've never gone.
we didn't go to Small Press Expo.
Nope.
It's in the same place every year.
It's in White Flint.
Yep.
I've never gone.
Right outside the
Wow.
metro station.
Wait. What about the one with the lady that did the?
That was Intervention Con.
Oh, I always
That
get it
was, like, literally
confused.
right down the street.
Intervention.
Yeah, that's what I keep thinking because they.
I have
told us.
issues. Intervention.
That was a nice little small convention. I don't think Intervention Con is there
But-
anymore.
No, it's
you
stopped
guys
a couple
you guys
years
should
ago.
go because it's like in their guidelines they specifically say no, you can have like 10% fan art. That's it.
Yeah,
See,
we was
yeah.
applying for BlurCon, and we was kind of surprised that BlurCon is like
75% fan art.
It has to be 75% fan art.
no,
Well-
it can be no more than.
Oh.
Yeah, not
I was gonna say that is such an abnormal rule for
Yeah.
any location.
But
It can't
75%
be
was
no
such a
more.
high number.
Yeah,
That's a
'cause
high number.
I want to say one time, I don't know. I want to say it was Otakon when it was still in Baltimore. I don't think it's still the same, but they was like 50.
Yeah, it has to be half. You
Well,
can't go past.
I
half.
mean, And with that, I understand because you do have people who only do fan art.
Dude, yeah.
And it's like you see those people. They're like, I'm going to make a print of every person I've ever seen on TV. And domineering. It's too much.
Yeah,
but
it
do
is.
you think it's like the conventions might, like, as they get larger, especially like, you know, Otakon and CastleCon, they literally grow in numbers every year. Except I think Otakon took a hit when they did move from Baltimore. But
people don't like changes.
But
and the travel.
Do you think they're getting larger, and especially like with the Comic Cons like New York and San Diego, that they're afraid of gaining the attentions? Like, you know, you might get, let's say Otakon becomes so big, Disney is like, okay, I want to do a booth or whatever, or Marvel's like, I want to do a booth, and they're just looking and they're seeing like these people are literally making thousands of dollars, in quotation
quote
marks.
unquote.
Yeah,
I mean, some of them, to be honest, on
their artwork, and they're not getting any of the bread. Like, you think that's probably why they have those rules?
I can't really say because there have been talks about at least Disney trying to put a damper on fan art overall. But those rumors have been going on for such a long time. Because I would respond back with AwesomeCon. I don't believe AwesomeCon has a percentage thing like that.
Oh, you know what?
And DC and Image were just at the last one, or the ones from like a year before.
Oh, wow.
So it's like you have bigger names at these shows, like coming here. I feel like it's unfair to compare it to something like San Diego Comic-Con when like that's where everybody is, and like their artist alley consists of industry.
Yeah.
So it's like they wouldn't be like, you can't draw Spider-Man. I was like, I just did the Spider-Man cover yesterday for Marvel. I was like, that's right. Sorry, man. Like, you know, it's harder to do that. But if like for them to come to smaller conventions or even other conventions over here and like try to police it to that extent, it's honestly a waste of money.
But what if like in a situation like, okay, a cover, yes, but people actually doing merchandise.
Yeah, the pillows and keychains.
With their logo on it.
Merchandise, that's a whole nother problem. Because with prints, that's in an idea. There's a finite amount of money that's not going to take too much from the parent companies. Yeah. And if anything, like if the print's moving that well and if it's being broadcasted that much, those parent companies might approach you to do something for them. Yeah. So that's a plus. But if you're using the Marvel or DC logo on like mugs and stuff like that with no alterations, that's just stealing. So that's them coming, and they would sue you independently.
No, that's true.
Well, you heard about what Nintendo's doing on Etsy, right?
No.
Yeah, so in the past couple of weeks, mind you, I heard about this in the past couple of weeks. It might have been going on longer. We hear about this all the time, right? Nintendo's very strict on their products, on their claims. They shut down anything. Like, people tried to make a fake Rip Me Off Pokemon game a while back called Pokemon Radiation. Or, I forgot, something with the
I know Pokemon Black and Blue.
Well, that's another one, yeah. Even just on YouTube to play with, cut it.
Sorry, what?
That one, I remember that one.
Peter made
a Pokemon.
Pokemon Black and Blue, where it's like it's the trainers fighting because they're like that's animal abuse. They made this a few years ago. It's hilarious.
It's it's a little brutal too, but
it's like Ash getting beat in the face.
Yeah, I was sitting back and like a punch more.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know.
They could have been the reason why. But Nintendo pretty much recently went to Etsy, and this is all hearsay, but as far as I know, some people that I used to follow have taken Nintendo stuff down. Yeah. People are really scared. Nintendo's going through Etsy and striking down a lot of their Animal Crossing merch, like little satchel bags and tote bags. They tracked anything Pokemon related, anything of their stuff. They're telling people, they're sending them emails, take that off. Now, you cannot sell it. And we know Nintendo in the past. Yes, that. Cease and desist.
See,
yes. They're kind of butts.
The way that I would handle that is like if you're gonna do stuff like that, to avoid being legally persecuted, is you got to do a limited run. You can't make something forever. Because once you
Yeah.
keep making it a consistent money flow, that's where the issue comes.
You know, that's a good point.
Because,
yeah.
Yeah,
like,
but
people
like, I
like...
said, like if you're literally selling thousands of this, that's when you catch the eye. Like if it's just one person just making like, you know, selling 5 prints, I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah.
But if like you literally are putting in a considerable amount of money and they, you know, go to your social media and you have millions of followers and stuff, yeah, they're going to make a move on you. Definitely.
They're gonna make an example.
Yeah, that too.
Because you're at this point you're less of the little guy and you're more so of a business,
Yeah.
a company. So
You're-
it's like,
They're gonna try to treat you as such.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which they're lawyers and they have way more money than you, so they're gonna win.
And I think that's one of the cons that I've always seen with fan art. The whole reason why I don't do fan art as much is kind of the same reason as yours. What I like, I don't get too much of a big response for.
You don't see it.
Yeah, so I'm okay with that. Like me, I want to do more Outlaw Star pieces. Outlaw Star is old as mess.
Outlaw Star is my jam.
Yeah,
When
boy.
Outlaw Star, Cowboy Bebop, and Trigun, when those three were
Dude,
like popping, like
yes.
Outlaw Star was my jam.
I mean, I'm gonna throw
I don't
Gundam
know.
out there, but Gundam's never lost. I don't know. Right now, Gundam isn't in the radar. But
I just felt like when I was in school, it was like those three. Like you watched one of those three.
Yeah.
Somehow I miss Outlaw Star
I know,
because
it's so sad.
I've never seen it.
I've had people say that too when people ask me, "Yo, what's your
But
what's your inspiration for your
definitely Cowboy
stories?"
Bebop and Trigun. But that's
Yeah.
probably the thing, right? Because I think Outlaw Star was on Toonami. Was it
Outlaw
ever
Star
on
was on Toonami.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
it was like you had the caster gun, Gene
Dude,
Starwind, like
yes.
you know what I'm saying? Like it was such a
Yeah,
bomb
the
show.
gorgeous Japanese hit woman. I loved her.
Aisha from the Kataro.
I was about
like,
to say her. Yeah, just
I'm a fan.
went beast mode. Yo, loved it
I'm
in
a fan.
space.
I'm a fan.
People ask me, "What's your inspiration?" I say Outlaw Star. I've literally gotten
It's
the.
one of
I'm
them,
sorry.
yeah.
What? What is that anime? I'm just
Wait,
like.
hold on. Did you ever? No. What? We literally had an inspiration show. I don't think you ever.
You did- you
mentioned
guys-
Outlaw
No,
Star.
sorry.
You
I
guys
it.
did have an inspiration show because I watched it.
Oh.
Well, listen to it. It had one graphic for an hour.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. There's literally going to be a part 2 because of
It's
it.
gonna be a part 2, but yeah, I had to switch to that because I was regretting doing the editing where I would just show Anna's videos because when she would record, it would literally be like pause, start, and I'm just like, yo,
It's
I
really
can't
hard.
do this.
I have
can't do
kids. Anybody who knows this by now at this point, I have 4 kids. So drawing and recording myself is nigh impossible. I'm going to stop that. Yeah, so, because of that, the recording process is very tedious. But the whole point of it being is that Outlaw Star is known, but just like you said, if I were to put up a piece of Outlaw Star characters and I devoted all my pieces to being exactly what I want to see out there versus what others will buy, I actually, some pieces I have that are really hard to sell because it's more of what I want to do. But at the same time, I turn it around and it's like, well, somebody's going to like this because this is what I want,
Yeah.
But, I mean, then I turn that more into original characters, and that opens a door to something else entirely. But to go back to commission-based commission-based work, because it's still along the lines of fan art. If a fan of yours, or someone who just recently becomes a fan, or someone who comes upon you, right? How do you get the people to come upon you and to commission you? I guess is what I want to ask.
The way that I bring new people to my table is be very engaging. It's like, for example, if you walk into a store and no one greets you, you're not going to be like, I'm excited to be in this store. No one's talked to me. No one's even looked my way. This is great. Like, it's not welcoming.
Yeah.
But if you're at your table and you're like, hey, how are you doing? Like, if you got a second, please come on, check some stuff out. I got these, I got this. Like, try to welcome them into your world so you guys can just communicate for that time being. Because you do have those times where you have to remember that people aren't just buying your art, they're buying you, in a sense.
No, yeah.
So it's like your personality with how you're selling it, because it's like, how many times have you seen like a really cool thing, but didn't like the person who made it, so you didn't buy it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. We talked about that too.
Yeah, because I've heard it where it was like, in the sense of And it totally differs, right? Because they say if someone needs to buy something from you, they got to know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
But then I've also heard of instances where it was like people don't really buy your work because of you yourself. They buy the work because they feel like it's an extension of themselves. And I feel like in some instances that's true too. Because I've seen people come to Anna's table, and before even they don't know who Midnight is. They don't know anything about Dare to Hunt or whatever. But like I was being a creep, and I was looking at them, and they were looking at they were looking at the prints.
Yeah.
And their eyes locked on the print, and I feel like it didn't really matter what Anna said at that point, because before they even approached her, they knew that they was going to buy that print.
Yo, I had an instance at BloodCon. Loved it. I'm literally talking to this one older guy, and I don't think they were going to buy anything at first. This person just wanted to ask me about my prints. Older white guy, had this yellow robe on, looked really cool, part of some old D&D. Like, they've been doing D&D since it came out.
All right.
So he was telling me all about that. And
This is
I'm
a
not
visual
even like,
right now.
huh?
So this is a visual right now.
He was just so cool and a quirky character, and I really like seeing him there. And it's slow, it's lunchtime. I don't get to see anybody coming through. So I'm talking to this guy extensively about D&D and how it was for him then, and how it's, just, he's just telling me on a tale, and I'm just like, yes, are you the DM? Because this is glorious. I love this. And somebody comes to the table, and so the guy at one point took the conversation to ask me about my characters, my stories, and I was telling him how I very much like D&D, and I like the storytelling aspect because I write comics. I'm a storyteller. And so I'm telling this guy about my comic D&D. I'm D&D. Dare the Hunt, and I'm going into detail. And somebody comes up. They're very patient. They're waiting, and I say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me." So I turn to them, and they just point until they want that, and they're like, "I heard you say everything you said about that. I want that." I was like, "But hello, my name is Midnight." What? They bought it right then and there. They bought the biggest size. They wanted a print of another print of something else that was related to it.
Yeah.
And then they wanted more stuff on the story. Now that's an instance where somebody walked in and they heard me talking about the story.
And they were able to relate and put something that they like towards it.
Yeah.
So it's like that familiarity with like D&D and whatever else was in the piece.
Yeah.
Like that brought them there, and they're like, all right, I like this. I'm for it.
You seem like a pretty okay person.
Right. Like I haven't spoken to you.
Anything.
Right. It's like you sounded passionate and happy about what you were presenting. So it's like that will bring people in.
Yeah, that engaging manner.
Engagement.
Yeah.
Because if you're at a table and you're not engaging with anybody,
more than likely they're
gonna keep walking.
Can we talk about that? Because like that's definitely one of the things that irked me when I go to a convention and I see someone and they're like I understand the issue of like for you, for example, right? If someone approached you and they ask for a commission and whatnot, and then they'll be like, I'll be back and whatever to check up on it or to get it, like you say, 2 hours. So now you have to work on that commission.
Oh yeah, that's
and whatnot. So sometimes I will approach some people's tables and they wouldn't engage with me and whatnot
because they're working on a commission or something.
Because they could be working on a commission or what have you. Most of it, I feel like they were drawing something. Never really people that was just on their phone. But to new people out there that go into conventions, you always want to engage with someone that comes up to your table.
Right. Most definitely. I know with that concern where it's like you just get a commission and you want to work on it, especially within the time frame that you're allotted, you still need to be able to communicate at the same time. Like if you know that you can't engage with people while you're working, you need a booth buddy. Yeah. You need somebody who's able to sit there with you and is able to talk you up, talk your work up, and sell for you while you're working on commissions.
Oh, that's great to have a booth buddy, especially when you're eating.
Especially when you're eating.
William, his writer for Tuskegee Airs,
Greg Burnham, yeah.
He would be there to talk. Because I've actually never had a conversation with Marcus Williams. It's always
Greg.
Because it's always Greg. I have tried to talk to Marcus Williams.
Because Marcus Williams is the quiet one.
Yeah,
he's the quiet one.
Definitely. Yeah. He's normally working, and he doesn't come off as rude or anything. He definitely seems friendly. He's just always busy, But Greg Burnham has always been like quick to.
They're
like,
both
respond.
nice guys, and they remember you, so they're
Yeah.
genuine,
Yeah.
which is great.
That was
I was
embarrassing.
surprised because the first time I ever met them was back in Awesome Con. Then I saw them again in BlurCon, and Greg was like, "Hey." I was like, "Oh shit, you remember me?"
You called out to me.
so honored.
remember how at the beginning of the podcast I was like, if someone emailed me, that's your moment where you're just like, do you know who I am? Because I don't think you know who I am.
I similarly had a moment with one of my favorite cosplay artists, the burlesque artist Maki, from one of the other Blurred cons. I mean, I've done work with her. I think she's really great. We've talked a lot on the side. But,
Yeah.
like, you know, she was in a crowd of all these gaggle of cute girls. I'm just standing there waiting to say bye. And then she scooches past them to me and reaches out and does this. And I'm just standing there like, oh, me? Oh, hug? Oh, hug me?
Do you know who I am?
Legit, it was awkward for like 2 seconds because she just has her arms out doing the scooty. And I'm just like,
honestly, we
hugger, I'm sorry. Wow, me though.
I definitely had that
Sweetest
moment.
person in the world.
I had that moment several times with specifically Jerry Gaylord, Penelope Gaylord, Jose Jarro, and stuff like that. Such nice people. Brian Turner. And it was like, and, you know, we saw him all the time. We communicate, like, you know, we talk, and even like message from time to time. And it was one of those points where in my head I'm like, are we friends? I don't want to ask.
Yeah, those.
But like,
yeah.
are we friends?
How you message from time to time, but you're still like, are we friends?
I can't, because sometimes it's just hard to gauge. Like, maybe you just put up with me, but it's like, you know,
that's always the default for me.
when
kind of the same thing.
that moment when they were like, we're friends, I was like, yes, I don't have to ask no more.
I don't have to wonder.
What's up, buddy? Like, it's one of those things. Right.
No, the same thing for Brian Tillman too. Like, I'm over here just like, he's so cool. Oh,
So,
I
we're
wish it
friends.
was like, yeah,
I used
for
to
me, though.
I used to be like that, but then I'm like, nah, we're friends.
Everyone says such cool stuff about him. Oh, I just want to support his work so much. So every now and then I would buy stuff from his table, small things, and he would be like, cool, thanks. You know, I even bought from his kids. And then one day he's like, hey, welcome back. You know, hey, Anna, how's it going? I'm just like, that's my name.
Yes.
You know me.
That's me.
Senpai.
Yeah, see, I have
throw me
much
away.
different experiences with meeting Tillman. It was in school, in the hallway, and he always said the same things. He's always like, you guys are never working, and it's like, it's lunchtime. Can we stop?
And, you know, I do want to talk about eventually your experiences at AI and being an art too, because we know Neff and I, we don't have that experience.
Which is
we came
amazing.
very close to having it, and then
We
they
really
were
did.
like, it's gonna cost you $1,000 to attend here.
I thought it was gonna cost
I was
us
like, is
$20K
there, is there
a year,
an
right?
alternative? And they was like, you can do these school loans. I'm like,
Hey.
Oh yes, it was 1,000. Yeah, that's right. Every month.
I'm a part of those school loans right now,
I'm sorry.
and they suck.
What would you say to our listeners who have like student debt?
is AI even a thing anymore?
To the listeners who have student debt, one day we will overcome, and we will take over Sally Mae
Right,
and force her to give us our money back.
I mean,
One day.
I mean, at least for the for-profit schools, right?
You gotta raise the fist up.
Raise the fist up. Yeah, AI was
Those
a
specific for-profit
specifically it was a
schools,
for-profit school, so
Yeah,
it's there's a lot of twists and turns in that. Like that could be a whole nother thing, but I do want to say, all jokes aside, like school's not needed. You know, it's like school is great. That's where you're gonna build like networking, your contacts, and everything like that. But everything you want to learn for what you want to do, dealing with the arts, you could really learn on your own. You know, and it's like go to conventions and find mentors for yourself, build your network.
Oh,
and
that's a great point. Yeah.
That's another cool thing. Another good thing about conventions is being able to meet with people who are not just, you know, vendors, presenters, and stuff of that nature, but you have to get into the mindset that they're your peers.
Right. Yeah.
And that you can ask them for help, for advice, and just, you know, build that community around
Something
them.
I definitely get on midnight about.
I knew he was gonna say it. I knew. I still
Relax.
have this vision of seeing myself as under, where
All the time. Me.
Yeah, and everyone's
Me.
here, and I'm just like, hi, I'm here. This is my table. You know, please don't come here.
Hey, I literally go home and I work on stuff, and I'm like, all right, cool. This sucks.
Yeah, oh boy, I just spent 6 hours doing this. I hate it.
Oh man, but people are
I
like,
like
oh
this finger on
no,
you."
you're good. Like, why do you think you're bad? It's like, it's not. I think I'm bad. It's I know I'm bad.
No, I can say that I don't think your works are bad whatsoever. But that's the
I
thing.
appreciate it, but it's a whole mental
mental
block.
mindset,
It's a
yeah.
mindset, which is like if you have that, get out of it. I can't give you clues on how to get out of it because hey, I bought a couch for this part of my life. Like I'm here in this
Oh, I was like, what?
loathing part.
But I guess that's like in that in some ways is the okay aspect of saying fake it till you make it. Because it's like, even with that mentality, because eventually you want it to be you. You want to walk into it and place that persona of being that person that's engaging, seeing people around you, especially at conventions as peers. And that's not to say that everyone should be your peer. It's great to have a mentor. If you can find your mentor at a convention, someone that you see is doing something you really want to do, talk to them. It's scary. Yes, 100%. I don't want to sound stupid in front of people. One of my biggest fears is just going over there and being like, hi, the tongue tie.
That's happened a couple times.
Yes, it has. And I looked at Neff like, please save me. Say the things that you know I want to say. You know what I want to say. Just say
What's
it for
your
me.
name? Points at his table. That's right there.
It's like being nice or being friendly isn't an issue for me as much as it is just not being a fangirl. Oh, I fangirl like crazy. Yeah, because I genuinely love their work, and I just...
There's nothing wrong with being a fan. Like, being a fan of somebody is, like, such a sign of, like, respect and, like, that you appreciate them. And then it's, like, sometimes you never know. Like, I met people who was, like, I was a fan of, and then it's, like, I'm talking to them, and they're like, oh, what's your Instagram? Or, like, what's your information? And I tell them, and they're like, oh, bro, I follow you. And I'm like,
I had that, like,
what?
recently. Yeah.
You do what?
You
of
what?
your own volition?
Me? You found me online? Yeah, I
Like,
follow you.
Dude, I remember I told one of my best friends one day on Facebook out of the blue I was doing this series of pizza delivery people.
Oh, I remember that.
I only did 3. I should have did more, but one of them was it got a random like one day, and I was like, who's this guy? So it's like, because I was like, I don't remember even adding you as a friend. Who are you? So I'm going through. I do a little research on the internet, and I found out that was a concept artist for Street Fighter 2.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah, this was back in 2015, I think 2015, and it was so cool. And it's like he left a comment as well. So I was just like, spazzing out. I was like, bro, like, come on, guys. Somebody has to bring me down to my level again. Because I'm going to sit on this couch and not do any work for the rest of the day. I win.
Yeah, that's always awesome.
Yeah.
Getting people that know you. I remember, what did we order from Walgreens?
It's such a random thing to Walgreens.
Yeah, we ordered something from Walgreens. Like, we had to go there and pick it up. It was like a package. Was it prints or something?
Oh God, that was so embarrassing.
Wait,
it was a
you
bunch
can
of
get prints
prints.
at Walgreens?
No, it's apparently Walgreens has like a
It was a FedEx
yeah, like
or
we
something.
missed the package for it arriving at our house.
So they have, it's like a
A
like
pickup
drop
for
off.
drop
USB.
off. Yeah.
So we went to Walgreens to pick it up, and Anna was talking to the cashier, and she was like, "Hey, aren't you Midnight Design?"
Let me put some context real quick.
Okay.
I was wearing, like, I never go out in this, but it was cold, it was rainy, it was 9 o'clock at night. I had just finished, like, getting comfy, and then we were like, let's go get the package, because we don't get it now, we're never going to get it. It's like, the night before the convention?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, we got to get it tonight. So, I was literally wearing this, but one of Neff's hoodies, because, and I was wearing these really loose sweatpants. I don't even go out like this.
Oh man, you were in homeless mode.
I don't even think I had 2 matching shoes on. I'm pretty sure they weren't matching.
Super comfortable.
My hair
Well,
was
I'm pretty
not
sure
done.
the shoes were matching.
I
The
don't know.
socks usually don't match.
Probably was a sock. My hair was not done. I was like hood on, just gonna grab this. I mean, Walgreens. Who goes to Walgreens this late at night?
Yeah.
And the woman was like, "Oh, aren't you
cashier.
Midnight?" The cashier. I was like, "Midnight." Yeah, you're on Instagram, right? Facebook, Instagram. I follow you. I'm just like, Oh God, no. Oh, really?
It's so weird.
This is my first experience.
When people know your face.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I try to keep my face off of all of my social, because I've had a similar moment, and it's shocked me so much that I just
tell
looked
us,
around
please.
just like, I keep saying this throughout this podcast, but do you know who I am?
Or why do you know who I am?
Why do you know who? I was like, yeah, you know, this, that, the other. Or I saw you at some event, and like we talked a minute, and then I'm like, right. How are you? Please don't run up on me on the gas station like this.
Okay, equally, yeah, a gas station. Of two of the places that I don't want to be recognized at.
But to be honest, like if I saw somebody that I really liked, that I really like admired and stuff like that, low key that might be me. Like if I saw trying to get a name right now. You know what? No. If I saw Kim Jong-gi
I knew it. I knew it. I should have said
at a
it.
grocery store, I would push my basket away from me, get in front of like the checkout woman, and start ringing up his stuff for him. Be like, hey, so how are you? Like, how are you? Oh my god!
Oh my God, it's you. I guess like to with that, and I guess wrapping up is even at conventions, you know, people see your face. And
Yeah.
going to more conventions, you get more transparency, and that's very important.
You do.
And sometimes it's embarrassing, like we said.
It's very.
I guess like final question for a convention. Let's see. Oh, let's end it with some of your favorite ones. Some of your favorite commission based work. What do you like when people come to you about? How do people, you know?
Can I add to that question?
Yeah, add to it because it was worded weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it always is.
Since this is going to be the last question, but we're definitely going to continue this.
Yeah.
What was the weirdest thing someone asked you
Oh,
to
better
commission?
question. Yeah, what's the weirdest one?
The weirdest thing.
The word we're rated R, so you can keep going.
Oh, we're rated R. Great.
Yeah.
I
So
wouldn't say we're necessarily rated R. I would just
If you say
don't worry
tentacles,
about
it's
it.
totally okay.
Like we're not for kids. Like yeah.
okay, not for kids. That's all I need. The weirdest thing that I was commissioned to do was somebody came to my booth. I was like, I really like your stuff. Bought a print, and I was like, oh, sweet. She was like, do you take commissions? She's there with her boyfriend, you know, having a good time. I'm like, yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. I would like you to do a commission of Danny Phantom masturbating on his bed. And then the ghost version of Danny Phantom outside the door, peeking in and masturbating as well in the hallway.
What?
The funny thing is, I already knew this story. I just
You
wanted
did.
our
You did,
listeners
because
to know.
I missed that
Because we're
somewhere.
friends and we speak outside of this moment.
Wait. Was I there when you brought? I swear I don't remember.
This
it.
was All-Star Con, right? Like
No,
not last year. The year
this
before, right?
was Escape Velocity.
Oh, Escape
Escape Velocity. Someone came to you
Yeah.
for Danny Phantom.
And I kind of was like looking at her boyfriend for like confirmation, like, is this a joke?
Is this
I
a
laughed.
joke?
That's the first thing that I'm gonna think about. Like, this is a joke. Like, you're really like.
I'm waiting for
fucking
the
with me here, right?
punchline.
But you know,
is it me? Am I the punchline?
They were both serious. They were like, yeah, we want this. Would you be able to do it? And like, for me personally, when I do commissions, especially if it's commissions that I don't want to do, I have a really high price. So I was like, all right, cool, $500. It was like, great.
Great.
Here's the down payment. I'm like, you're really gonna make me draw this? I don't feel comfortable.
But that money makes me
But
a
the
little
money
bit
makes
more
it right.
comfy. Yeah.
Luckily, they didn't want it that day, so we exchanged information, and I got to work on it after the convention.
Was that like a fake price, or was that like around?
No, that was it.
That was the.
That was it.
Oh yeah, no. If I be warned, if I don't want to do it, the price is gonna be abnormally high.
And
then
they
that's
paid the rest.
Oh yeah, they paid it.
Wow.
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 Okay, so okay. Now that I have one more to add
Yes.
to it, right at the last second, is that your highest paying weirdest one, or is there more higher paying weird ones?
I've had higher paying jobs, but that is the highest paying weird one.
Well, that's a way to end the episode, I guess.
Yes.
I
We're
love
definitely
it.
going to be doing part 2. We have to cut this short because we have D&D
D&D.
coming up.
D&D.
Which I am also a part of. So
Yeah, we're D&D homies, so
Yeah, this
can you tell?
kind of started late for us. But yeah, we definitely got to do a part 2 of this. So yeah, we're gonna be ending it.
Yeah, we look forward to having you back.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, this was great. I had fun.
Hashtag humble brag, Darren.
If you meet me in real life, I'm super humble. I don't like talking about myself at all.
Yeah, it was kind of a poke and prod.
I get that a lot.
But it was great to have you. Hopefully next time we'll have you with MDC. He might have some questions. He might not. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he did the events.
I am also friends or maybe acquaintances to MDC as well. He's hopefully we're friends. I don't know.
But yeah. Tell them again where they can find you.
You can find me on the Instagrams at _Soto, Facebook at _Soto. Do not be upset because I don't post there a lot, but I will this year. And Twitter.
Bold claims. You heard it here.
The Soto on Twitter. I'm sorry. She threw me off.
You're committing. You gotta commit now.
I have a new Twitter too, so it's like I never done it before. So please talk to me.
You gotta show me some stuff because I don't know anything about Twitter.
And Soto is spelled SOTO, just in case people don't know.
Yeah. SOTO. Because it ain't hard.
I'm pretty sure I've heard of like Sorto.
Yeah, there's a Sorto.
Yeah, there is a Sorto, but like, I'm not that guy.
Okay. Okay, so that's it for this episode.
Hey, and if you liked it and you want more guest shows, we have guest stars on here. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. Comment. Yeah,
and give us recommendations.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah,
all that good stuff.
Share all that thing that you do. Talk to us. Tell us what you want.
Yeah,
we're listening.
We're listening.
Talk to them.
We're waiting.
And thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you so much. You can
Appreciate
find us on Spotify now. We're on the Spotify.
Yeah, AWWH podcast. Is it an underscore or anything?
No, it's Artist, Wife, Writer, Husband podcast.
See, I'm already messing it up. Artist, wife, writer, husband.
Podcast.
Featuring the Soto on this particular episode.
On this one. Whatever number this is, because I don't know.
Episode 12. Yeah.
Yeah, look at him. He's always on top of it.
Yeah. So, bye, everybody.
Peace.
Have fun.